Hey guys, Inferno here today with another preview for a new game that's coming out in the next, I think 1 month exactly now. Armored Core 6. So, oh my god, I almost had a voice crack there, really. Anyway, a few weeks ago, about, I think like 3 weeks ago now, Bandai Namco actually invited me to come and play Armored Core 6 and play about 4 hours of the game. So, essentially, like the first chapter of the game. And honestly, I was quite impressed by it. I'm going to keep this video pretty short because they have kind of limited us on how much we can talk, not really talk about, but basically saying 20 minutes is the max we can really do, more or less. So I don't really want to ramble on too much. The main two topics I'll be talking about are mainly the gameplay and the customization story. I won't do too much, or I basically won't even talk about it at all anyway until like the full game comes out pretty much. So yeah, with all that said, let's just jump right into it. Gameplay in Armored Core 6 is pretty much the same that we've known for the previous iterations more or less, but a lot more refined now considering it's been about 10 years since the last game that's come out. The game itself is not open world, but the maps that you go through during the story are quite big in itself. There aren't really many secret areas per se. There might be in like the future missions and stuff, I don't know, but from what I've played in chapter 1, it's literally just drop you into a map, you go and do your mission. There's sometimes they're a bit like, I guess, hidden side quests in a sense. So there was one mission near the start where it says don't engage a certain enemy, but if you do, you actually get something out of it. It's not too hard, honestly, but you might die a few times here and there. But yeah, the world in itself is pretty expansive, honestly. Like, you see a lot of machinery. You don't really see like a vibrant life or anything. Literally everyone's just like dead, busted, broken roads, broken, literally everything, which is to be expected because we're going into a world that's pretty much like fucked up, pretty much, to say the least. Difficulty in the game, however, it pretty much felt decent. It wasn't too hard, it wasn't too easy. Some of the bosses that you face were a bit tricky. Like the very first boss that I actually faced in the game, I think I died about like 3 times, but considering that I've not played an Armored Core game in God knows how long, and I was just getting used to like the whole game in itself, it was to be expected. But I feel that once you get down the whole control scheme and everything, then you should be good to go. Bearing in mind, I was playing with a PS5 controller, but there are keyboard and mouse support. I'm not too sure how well it will work, but I think it will be pretty decent. I don't think it will be like super scuffed or anything, because the aiming is a bit, I wouldn't say awkward. You have like literally like a lock on, but I'll speak on that a bit more later on, like in the customization part. But yeah, overall controls felt good. Difficulty felt good. Enemies in itself, they're pretty much just like peanuts in the game. Although like some of them are like turrets and stuff, and those ones can be slightly annoying, mainly because you have a posture meter, which is a nice feature, I guess. But honestly, with some of the enemies that you do face, or like the turrets, the stuff that's shooting at you, your posture meter can easily just get depleted so easily. And you have about 3 healing that you can use throughout the mission. Sometimes in certain missions, you do get checkpoints where you can restock on your ammo, your health kit, and everything as well. Maybe do a couple changes as well if you need to like tinker with your armor core and all that stuff. Pretty much, I'll talk about that later on. But overall, most missions are from like point A to point B, and if you die, you don't start from the beginning. You just start from like a certain part of the mission, which I guess kind of makes it a lot more easier in a sense now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, there are certain areas that it might trouble you a bit. But then again, this is like the beauty of the game. It's like, if my AC is not working, then what do I need to do to change it? Do I need to have like more agility or something? Do I need to have more HP or stuff as well? But yeah, overall I enjoyed the gameplay for what it was, and honestly I was like pretty surprised. I know some people might be thinking, oh, would it be like Souls like and everything with what FromSoft has been doing for like the past couple of years, but no, it still plays like the Armored Core that I used to play back in the day, just a lot more refined now. Like, I'll say more modern, more or less now. Now we come to the main part of the video, and probably what everyone really wants to know about is the customization in Armored Core 6. And Unfortunately, I cannot show you any customization in this video because in the embargo it basically said you could not show anything from main menu, the garage, the customization, the arena, and I'm just like, bro, I'm looking at it and I'm just thinking this is like the main thing that people really want to see. But it's unfortunate. Rules are rules. But honestly, to say about customization is it's honestly really done well to the point I was like kind of shocked, but at the same time I was like happy as well because I know a lot of people probably be a bit iffy about this and stuff. So essentially, when you do get your first AC, as they'll call it in the game, you basically get to customize it, not like with like parts and stuff straight away, but essentially what color you want it to be. So the parts like your head, body, arms, legs, you can individually change it to like the color of your liking. There are obviously preset colors there as well if you're like kind of on the lazy side like me. But you know, for those people that really want to go into say, yo, this is my AC, then you're gonna have a long time sorting it out. But I think it'll be worth the wait, honestly. You can also add in like emblems and stuff as well to like add a bit of spice to your AC as well. I did notice that there was one feature where I think you could, I'm not too sure, I didn't get to ask this question unfortunately because I didn't have enough time, but I think you can import images from well, at least on the PC version, I guess from like your desktop or whatever, into the game. Now if that is the case, I can't really confirm it yet, but we'll see. If that is the case, then that is a blessing and a curse at the same time. A blessing because people can show their true skills. Like, so if you say for example like you're an artist or something, you can easily draw like one of the best images that you ever done and showcase it when you're playing online and stuff. At the same time, we know when they give us a bit of freedom in these types of games where people just like to be a little bit degenerate, which I mean everyone's kind of a degenerate anyway at this point in life. But yeah, I can't really confirm that, but I do hope that is the case. Now onto the actual AC itself, you do get parts through completing story missions, completing the tutorials missions as well, or like the arena fights as well. Essentially the arena fights are like 1v1s against NPCs, which are quite fun. I managed to do the first four that unlocked in chapter 1, and then in chapter 2 there are like another set that unlock. I tried to do one of them, but the build that the NPC was using was one of those annoying ones that just like to run away and shoot, and honestly that is just like a pussy move play, but you know, it happens in these games. But yeah, that's for another story anyway. But essentially the default AC that you get would have a rifle, which you can kind of change to other weapons as well. I can't remember which ones exactly. You also have a sword as well as like your secondary weapon, which is honestly good for when you stun an enemy. You can go in and get some quick damage, like big damage as well. And then you have like other options to say use missiles as well, or if you don't want missiles you can use like a shield or whatnot as well to like mitigate some of the damage that's coming through, which is honestly quite helpful from when I was playing. But if you are like very comfortable with your AC and it's very agile and stuff as well, which I'll talk about in a minute, then don't really need that as well. But honestly there's a variety of options to use. Obviously when it comes to customizing, you kind of have to be careful with how much you're using or what parts you're using in a sense. So essentially it's similar to like previous games, or sort of, if you haven't played an Armored Core before, I'll say it's like Souls in a sense, mainly because if you are too overweight, well in this case you're just putting like all the big stuff on, essentially your AC is not going to be to move as fast or dodge as much as well. So you kind of want to have a balance as well. I know some people might have ACs where they're just like nimble and stuff and can just go all around the map and stuff, but essentially there are ways to kind of increase your capacity as well, which would then allow you to actually have on like more better, I wouldn't say better weapons, but more heavy machinery in a sense, which I guess is kind of good for some areas, but other areas I kind of found it better to like have something small or something a bit more precise. Mainly the weapon I was using was like a pulse rifle more or less, which was quite good for the most part, but I did notice that in certain missions I was like, okay, maybe I should have something a bit more, I wouldn't say agile, a bit more that has a bit more fire rate to it. But again, that's the beauty of this game. Now I do not know if you're allowed to save your AC so you can have like multiple different sets for like different missions that you want to tackle and stuff. I do hope that is in the game. If it's not, then that is like a real shame, but I think that's something they can easily add in, hopefully. But yeah, honestly, that's the main part for your AC. Another part for customization is the OS tuning. So in this game, essentially you can use these parts called OSTs that you obtain from the arena fights that you basically complete, where you can essentially give your AC more abilities to use. So for example, you can use it to unlock quick turn for using in a tight situation, manual aiming, which is good especially if you're using keyboard and mouse controls, or use it to gain more ammunition, more health, more healing items that you can use throughout the missions. So essentially doing the arena fights are very useful to the point where it'd probably be mandatory to an extent, because there are times you're probably going to suffer and you actually do need some of these upgrades. But I didn't get to see all of them because I think a lot more unlocks later on down the line as well. But there is a fair amount to choose from pretty much. Overall, it's pretty much safe to say that the team that's handling Armored Core 6 know what they're doing for new players and returning players. I know some people might have been a bit worried, like, would it be too Souls-like or something, but that's honestly not the case. You might see a few similarities here and there, but at the end of the day, it's still Armored Core. It's still its own thing pretty much. While some battles can be tedious, which is to be expected, but the overall difficulty wasn't too bad and honestly just felt right. And I honestly think no one's really gonna suffer too much into it. Yeah, people might die a few times here and there, but it's part of the learning experience, right? No, considering that I've only just played chapter 1 and a tiny bit of chapter 2, which technically I wasn't supposed to, but no one kind of told me where else to stop. The difficulty, I think it might ramp up a bit here and there in certain chapters, but for chapter 1 it was pretty good balance wise. I honestly wasn't sure about playing this game considering that I'm not the biggest Armored Core fan and I haven't played it probably since number 4 pretty much, but after playing about 4 or 5 hours of the game, I'm honestly excited to say that I'm ready for the full game when it comes out next month. And for any Armored Core fans out there, you'll be in for a treat. But yeah, that is pretty much the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do have questions about the game and stuff, please leave a comment down below. I'll try and answer it. Hopefully it's like nothing too spoiler territory or anything like that. But I think most should be fine. They didn't really say anything about it. But yeah, I'll see you guys next month for the full game. So I'll catch you then.